there is no time like Thursday night racing here in the OSRL Premier Series. It is officially OSRL Night in America for race number 2 of the Premier Series Season 11 season. It is the Deyvion Carter Hopes and Dreams Memorial 200 presented by PeriPaints. We are looking live at the 08 version of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. As you can see on the bottom of your screen, it's the good version of Atlanta. It is bumpy Atlanta. It is before they screwed this track up and tried to turn it into a mini Daytona. This is one of the fastest and most challenging tracks the service has to offer on the Oval Series. You're known at this track as Hotlanta, an old surface, a bumpy surface, the hot Georgia sun. It makes this track both challenging from a driver's perspective, but also from a crew chief's perspective as you try to navigate this track and not burn off the right rear of your tire with how slick and how bumpy and how grueling this track can be. We had an incredible debut for the Season 11 season back last week at Daytona, and it looks as following after the first round. This is your top 10 in points. Aiden Walker, your winner from last week, is your current points leader. He comes in with a 58-point gap. It has a 6-point advantage over second place Braden Movick. Wesley Person in 88, 10 points back with Jack Painter only 2 behind in 4th. Rounding your top 5 is Marcus Smallden in 83 car. Austin J. Rip back in 6th. 7th, you're going to find Justin Knutson in a number 16. Gavin Newton, who we saw last night run the OSRL ARCA Series out in Concord, had a top 5 finish. He is back tonight, currently scored 8th in the points. Kendall Carpenter, one you're going to look out for a championship contender. He is 9th. And then longtime racer Ruby Estes is your final car in the top 10 in points. Of course, only one race down, so it's way too early to be looking at this, but you also want to keep in mind as well, look at the rest of the season. Right now, we're here tonight at Atlanta. Next week, you're going to go out to Richmond, Montreal, Dover, and Homestead, looking ahead to the next months. So you have an incredible next couple of races to look forward to, and it's going to be one you're going to look out for, especially throughout the season. So if you want to keep up to date, be sure to follow along with OSRL_ on Twitter. Join the Discord as well, so you too can join this and be a part of the action. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's starting grid, because tonight, just like when we had at Daytona, an incredible star-studded field made their return tonight for round number 2 of the season. And it is one you're going to look out for. 50 cars entered, only 40 make it in, with 1 car getting the Provo. On pole, going to be number 42 of Braden Movick, one of the drivers we're going to look out for, a championship contender, currently comes in the night 2nd in the points. Joshua Chin, another driver, is going to be a strong contender for the championship. He starts alongside in 2nd. Joe Armstrong as well, the 022 car. He's going to be a front runner here tonight. Be sure to watch out for him for a potential race winner. James Gibson, we saw last night at Concord for the ARCA Series, made his season debut there. He won that race in dominating fashion. He's going to try to do the same here tonight. Jonathan Oates in a 73 car starts 5th. Back in 6th is former series champion Cole Frelick. Rudy Valentin in 7th, another former champion, with Marcus Smallden currently top 5 in the points. He starts 8th. Nicholas Vladimlik in number 28 car starts in 9th, and Dominic Barabagalo rounds out your top 10. That is going to be an interesting name to try and pronounce. Back in 11th, 79 of William Schmidt. Number 22 of Ashley Kolonix back in 12th. Jack Painter, number 97 car, in 13th. 14th is the number 6 is Spencer Madden. 15th, Douglas Newbigging in the number 77 car, with Dane Stinson in the number 55 starting 16th. 17th, number 90, Nathan Barrows with Morpheus Perry in the number 31 car starting back in 18th. Jessica Newson back in top 10 in points. He starts 19th alongside another top 10 in points, Kendall Carpenter. Back in 21st, Chris Lilly in number 48 car is going to start alongside Diego Roldan in the number 29 car. Madeline Roten, number 60, starts 23rd. Wesley Person, 2nd and 3rd in points right now, starts back in 24th. John Daniels, number 02, starts 25th. Griffin Jones back in 26. I believe he's actually the off-track admin, so scratch that. Tristan Baker, number 51 car, starts 27th. Levi Wolf, 28th. Austin J. Rip, top 10 in points. The number 65 car starts 29th, with Nathan Kiani, the Canadian himself, starting back in 30th. Outside the top 30, you're going to find Bobby Blazer in 090. Presley Soro, ARCA driver in real life, driving the 098 car. He starts 32nd. Nolan Sanford in the 52 car, alongside in 34th, and number 14 to Travis Rowland. Adam Harrington, number 4 car, starts 35th. Harry Grindell in the number 70 starts 36th. Trey Patton, 37th. Bailey Thompson, 27, starts 38th. 39th is Cooper Glick. And rounding out the field of drivers who qualified is going to be Corey Rexford, number 03. As for the drivers who did not qualify here tonight, Isaac Johnson, one of the big contenders you're going to watch out for. He is not going to be starting tonight. Stephen Gibson, Brett Bennett, Shane Sweeney, Gavin Newton, who was top 10 in points coming in the night, finished in the top 5 back at Concord last night. He fails to qualify. Marty Farrell in the number 24 car also fails to qualify. Christopher B. Williams as well. Michael Deitch in number 57. Rex Jenkins as well. And then Jade Gray qualified 50th. He will start tonight. He's going to get the last place provisional, or the sponsor provisional, courtesy of Morpheus Perry. And that is going to wrap up your starting grid. And now we're going to get set for a grueling 130 laps around the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And there is a look at your starting field as they make their way down the back straightaway. As well, there is the running order as it stands. So Braden Movick, your pole sitter. Joshua Chin alongside in second. Looks like James Gibson back there in third. No, there's Joe Armstrong. For some reason, he fell back in line in fourth, but he should roll off in the third position. As for drivers to look out for tonight, I mentioned some of them when going through the starting grid. Top of the chart, though, that 93 car. Josh Chin is going to be one of the guys you want to look out for. He is oh so strong, one of the highest rated drivers in the league by far. He is going to be someone who is going to be one of the front runners here tonight. Another driver as well, Rudy Valentin, a number 78 car. Oh so strong. He might not be the fastest on track, but some way, somehow, he always finds himself running up there in the top half of the field by the end of it. So be ready for him. He's going to be trying to make some moves early on in this race to probably get himself in a good spot to try and capitalize on some points. And then, as always, Braden Movick, your pole sitter. That's an easy guess, but no matter where we're at, no matter what track, this guy finds a way to either cheese his way, or he just knows the secrets of these cars and the secrets of these tracks to find the speed that he needs. So even though he's on pole, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way you want it to, this is going to be a guy that's going to have a really good shot at starting from the pole and staying up there throughout the entirety of this race. And now, as the field maneuvers their way through turns 3 and 4, you can see the pace car lights are off on top of the Ford Mustang iRacing pace car. 20 rows of 2 starting here tonight for round number 2 of the OSRL season. And as the pace car dives in, we're going to get ahead in the restart zone, and the green flag is underway. We are racing in Atlanta. And as we complete lap number 1, Braden Movick is going to lead the opening lap here tonight. As the field quickly makes their way down the back straightaway here for the opening laps. My ticker is not wanting to work right now. Regardless, there you can see there is your current leaderboard. Braden Movick, the race leader, with Joshua Chin back in second, as James Gibson, who did start, looks like he did start in about the third spot. He currently holds on to that P3 spot. Paul Froelich right now, an early mover here in the first couple of laps. He finds himself up in the 4th spot, but you can already see up at the front, Joshua Chin trying to make the top line work as they make their way down the back straightaway. Now through turns number 3, Movick still holding on to a 0.2 of a second gap, as Gibson now going to try and make the top side work off of turns 3 and 4. Last night at Concord New York Series, he was the only person that was able to find the momentum to hold on to that top lane. And so far, he's going to be the first one to really try and explore in turns 3 and 4. You can already see there is Josh Chin, a 93 car as well. So he is going to try one of the lines that we see a lot of real-life drivers do. That is go high in turns 1 and 2, and then he's going to dive low in 3 and 4. You can see him there. He's going to follow Movick all the way down to the white line. And as he makes his way off of turn number 4, he's going to stay right tucked behind the number 42 Corona Light Chevrolet. And as he heads into turn number 1, he's going to try and find that clean air and ride the line along the wall to try and get himself a better run down the back straightaway. But as it sits, Muvik holding on to a pretty, not comfortable lead, but one that you can work with, as the drivers still feel their way out, as the top 3 so far are starting to build a decent-sized gap. It is a 1.8 second gap back to 4th. That is number 15, Nicole Freilich. Jonathan Oates in the 73 car rounds out the top 5. Joe Armstrong, who started in row number 2, has fallen back to 6th, as he is trying to find the momentum and the consistency here in the early portion of this race to get himself back up within the top 5. This is going to be a guy that you don't really want to let keep lying down, because he is somebody that knows how to find the pace. He is somebody that when he does show up, regardless if he runs a full season or not, he's always one of the front runners. So the fact that he started up in the 2nd row and has fallen back to 6th with Rudy Valentin in the 78 car peeking right behind his back bumper, that's a bit surprising. To make the way off of turn number 2, you can see still a tight group of cars from 5th on back. But up ahead, the gap now from 1st to 3rd is about 0.8 of a second. But the gap from 3rd to 4th, we can get the drone camera up here real quick. I'll show you if we can't get a better view. This isn't going to really do it, but here's what will. It is a 1.5 second gap from James Gibson to Cole Freilich. In 8 laps alone, the gap is that wide out, which is a bit surprising. You can kind of see it right there. The top 3 right now are just running away with it. They are easily running out of class in the field, as Muvik still holds strong onto the race lead. He has led every single lap since the drop of the green flag. He continues to maneuver his way around this Atlanta Motor Speedway, as the gap now seemingly shrinks. It might spread up about 1/10 of a second. The gap is now officially 9/10 of a second, so just 1/10 under a whole second between 1st and 3rd, as Gibson now has moved his way back down to the bottom in 3 and 4. As Josh Chen still running the high line, trying to find whatever bit of an advantage you can. I apologize if you hear sniffles. I know that on the ARCA broadcast you could hear. I'm going to try and control the best I can, but it is allergy season, so I am trying the best I can to get through this. But you can see back there, there is a pass for position that just took place. Cole Freilich has lost the 4th position to Jonathan Oates. Jonathan Oates, the former owner of the OSRL series, handed over the duties to Jack Painter at the end of last season, or I believe the season before actually, as he went off to college. So he does make a return to run in his league from time to time, running the number 73 Jordan Ford Taurus, made to look after the 2311 scheme I believe Tyler Reddick ran a couple seasons ago. Here's a good look at the number 73 car, as Cole Freilich right behind him, trying to get what he can to bring the fight back to that 73 car. He's going to close the gap just a little bit, but I don't know if he's going to have what it takes right now to make the pass stick. As they maneuver their way back through turns number 1 and 2, the sun's starting to peek out once again as they make their way down the back straightaway. I don't have the exact time right now, but I know it's in the afternoon. And right now, this track is going to have a lot of heat built into it. And that's going to do nothing but make it a bit more slippery and a bit more tricky for these drivers to navigate around here in the opening laps. I did talk to Cole during practice. The fuel window for these cars is about 51 laps, but the way these tires are, we're going to be looking at about 30 to 40 laps on tire wear just alone. So the name of the game right now is going to be to pretty much save your tires, but at the same time, try and hold the pace, because while we said that, the gap has opened up yet again. The gap has actually shrunk from 1st to 2nd, and now Joshua Chin now going to try and make the charge to Braden Muvik to bring the fight for the race lead as they make their way back to turn number 1. Joshua Chin going to hop up on the top shelf, run about a lane off the wall as he maneuvers the middle of the racetrack. As Muvik continues to work that bottom line, you're going to see now, here comes the run for the number 93 car. He's going to take a peek to the inside. They're going to go side by side through turn number 3. And Chin going to get the nose out of him. He's going to hold on the bottom side. He's going to complete the pass. And we have a new leader. Our first lead change of the night takes place on lap number 14, the number 93 car of Joshua Chin. Now up at the top of the point. Then we go back through turn number 1. He's going to go back up to the top side of the racetrack. That seems to be where he's comfortable, especially running right there about a lane off the wall. The gap now about 1/10 of a second as they make their way down the back straightaway. James Gibson, however, starting to fall back a little bit. Or not so much, I would say. It looks bigger than what it actually is just because of the fact the top two are right on top of each other. But the gap is actually starting to shrink a little bit. Last time we checked in, it was about 0.8 of a second. Now it's dropped down to about 0.6, so about a half a second gap from first to third. As with these two fighting, that's going to do nothing except allow that number 75 car to peek back up to the point and possibly make this a 3-car fight for the race lead. But regardless of all that, the gap back to fourth is almost 3 seconds as it stands, as we're quickly taking off the opening laps here tonight in the first stages of this race. As Josh Chin leads over Braden Movick, James Gibson back in third, Jonathan Oates in fourth, Cole Freilich in fifth, Joe Armstrong in 22 back in sixth, Rudy Valentin in the seventh, as, Josh Chin going to slide it up into the wall. That's going to allow Braden Movick to sneak the nose under him, and he's going to take back the race lead. So now our second lead change of the afternoon goes back in the hands of your pole setter of Braden Movick, as he's going to navigate back through turns 3 and 4 on the bottom side. Chin going to run about a half lane up, and here he comes, the number 75 of James Gibson now, starting to knock on the door as those two continue to fight. He has chopped out another 0.2 of a second between first and second. So now the gap under half a second officially, as James continues to maneuver his way around the top side of turns 1 and 2, as he tries to get himself up into position to fight for the race lead. And with those two fighting, it actually has starting to bring the gap down from third to fourth. Last time we checked in on those guys, they're about 3 seconds back. The gap now is sitting about 2.5. But the one thing that's not going to help them is the fact that a battle has started to brew us. I was going to say, it looks to be some connection issues for Josh Chin, because he did disconnect for just a brief second and was starting to fall back in the running order, so I thought he fell out of the server. Nope, he's still in. There he goes again. So connection issues for one of the front runners. That might be a me issue. I believe it's actually a me issue. Anyways, we're going to try and get through this. Braden Movick still leading. Movick going to run the top line of 1 and 2. Going to try and block the preferred lane for the number 93 car, Joshua Chin. Let's go on board with that number 42 car, as Movick now going to get a battle on her hands, as Chin now going to work the bottom side in turns 3 and 4. They're going to go side by side off of turn number 4 down the front straightaway, as the fight continues to rage on between the top two. So through turns 1 and 2, once again Movick going to go up to the top side to block the clean air from Chin. And that did work, because he did wash up just a little bit. He did make contact with the outside wall, and that's going to give Movick a bit more breathing room to that number 93 car. The gap now 0.3 of a second. James Gibson, however, starting to fall back a little bit more. The gap now just back to where it was just over a second. He's going to have a big slide off of turn number 4. And this is what I talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. This is a track that loves to eat tires. This old bumpy surface, this hot Georgia sun, wants to do nothing more than act like a cheese grater to these Goodyear Eagles, or these E-Eagles as you might want to call it. And we can start to see it happen. Gibson struggling on corner exit just with how hot the tire is, how much heat's built in that right rear. We've gone 22 laps green so far, and that's going to do nothing except make it a challenging condition for a 75 car to try and close the gap down. The gap now 1.1 seconds, so it is easy to tell the tires have gone away from their 75 Running Racing Designs Chevrolet. As he's going to slide it all the way up to the wall, just about gets into it. As back up at the point, Braden Movick now a 0.3 of a second gap over Joshua Chin, as he now has a little bit more running room ahead of him. He doesn't have the 93 car breathing down his neck as he makes his way through turns 3 and 4 to complete lap 23. And with all of this, if you look back there, you can see Jonathan Oates has lost the 4th position back to Cole Freilich. So Cole Freilich now back up to P number 4, and here comes Joe Armstrong. We saw him drop off at the start of the race. That might have been him trying to save a bit of tires. Let the guys running up, fighting for the lead, go through their stuff. He's going to try and play the long game, make these tires last, and then pick them off as they go later in the run. As here he comes, he's going to try and peek the nose. 173 car of Oates. He should make easy work with him if he can get the run off the corner. We're going to go close to side-by-side. Shin might clear him here on the entry of the corner. Armstrong going to run about a half lane up from the bottom. And they are still going to go side-by-side off turn number 2. These two were in a tight battle here for the 5th position. Armstrong going to try and drive it in a little bit deeper. But Oates is just going to roll the top, and he just makes easy work of it. Look at that. As it looks like we do have our first caution on the speedway. It looks like he's going to be involving the number 4, Adam J. Harrington. So for the first time tonight on lap number 25, we're going to take a look at our race replay. As we go back to see what brought out our first caution of the afternoon, and don't think we're going to have a clean shot of this. We're going to try, but I don't think iRacing got a clean shot of this just because of the fact that stopped drawing cars with how far back they were. We're going to try and take... Oh, we can actually see on the bottom of your screen. I'm trying to see who that is. It does not look like we're going to be able to get a replay, sadly. So I apologize for that. iRacing is really not wanting to work with me right now. As the cars are now on pit road. As obviously it's a no question decision just because of the fact we went 27 laps on that first green flag run. As the race off pit road takes place, Mother going to keep hold of the race lead as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 back up onto the banking. We did get an update. I'm going to try and see if I can't real quickly take a look back, because I do want to see if we can't find out what happened here. I got reports from the admins that the incident did involve the number 60 of Madeline Roten, so I'm going to try and go back and get as clean of a view of this incident as I can. Just bear with me for a moment. Here's what I'm able to see. She's just going to get loose and just slam it in the outside wall, and then around that time is where her car disappears from me. That is the cause of the first caution of the afternoon. Madeline Roten just spinning it off of turn number 4. And that's going to bring out the first caution of the night. He's back up at the front now. The field is double file once again. As we come to complete lap 28, start lap 29. As the pace car once again going to make the hard left turn down on the pit road. The field back in the hands of Braden Muffet. They're going to enter the restart zone. And we are back underway here in Atlanta, and Muffet going to get a good jump on the restart. He's going to get a bit of a clean margin hanging in turn 1 as there are 3 wide on behind him. That is going to be the 022 of Joe Armstrong. Alongside of him is the 15 of Cole Frelick and a 75 of James D. Gibson. Those are 3 drivers who are not going to back out of this one. And I'm wrong. Armstrong actually going to shoot out like a cannon. Going to go from about the 6th spot up to 2nd. Clear Joshua Chin. Move him back up in contention for the race lead. As he is now going to try and bring the fight to the 42 of Braden Muvick. As James D. Gibson, right now the big loser on the restart, was back around in 3rd position. Got caught up in that 3 wide mess. He's going to fall back real quick as we are under caution yet again. They are still wrecking. That looks to be the 0-2 of John Daniels, I want to say. We see him there navigating the bottom of the racetrack. So once again, we're going to go ahead, try and take a look at the replay. See what brought out our 2nd caution here, as we are only 2 laps into this run. Looks like we do have a clean shot of it this time, for what it's worth. This is going to involve the 28 car of Nicholas Vladimic, who had a decent starting spot. Gets loose off the corner, gets into the 48 Chris Lilly. He's going to get contact from the number 29 car. He's going to get sent spinning down through the infield as a lot of cars going to take evasive action. Look at the 0-2. That is the number 0-2 of John Daniels, taking an interesting ride through the infield grass. It looks like that's all it's willing to show us. I'm not sure why it's not showing us anything else. The field now, once again under caution. Braden Muvick right now, the early race leader here tonight, as we complete lap number 32. Let's see. We can't find somebody to talk to here. Matter of fact, we can. I don't know if... Doesn't look like I have the authority to move Braden Muvick. Or anybody for that matter. That's a weird one. So we're not going to get an interview this time. Sadly, I'm not able to drag in Braden Muvick. They do have private team channels for a lot of these drivers. And sadly, not all the permissions are given to the broadcast team. We learn as we go. As you can see, there is the 0-1 of Trey Patton going to beat the pace car off pit road. Right now, that is... I want to give a shout out to him. This is a fine looking automobile. This is a car that he's ran multiple times. This has been a long time car of his at this point. Is now... The field has completely disappeared from me. There he is. That 01 Rexford Engineering machine, based off of the Brew Code number 37 car, driven by David Green. One of the best paint schemes of all time. Is now... The field now going to make their way back through turns 3 and 4. As they are doubled up once again. Pace car lights are off. As now, for the 3rd time tonight, he's going to make the hard left turn off of pit road as they exit turn number 4. and give control of the field back to the 42 Corona Extra Chevrolet of Braden Movick. As he enters into the restart zone, he is back on the gas, and we are back underway here in Atlanta. Joe Armstrong going to hold tightly onto his outside. They're going to go side by side, entering in through turns 1 and 2. Josh Chin going to peek down in the middle, try and give himself some clean air. As he navigate through the banking, down the back straightaway, Movick going to clear up in front as the race is on for second. As here comes Chin now, going to try and peek back under to take back the runner-up spot. Side by side through turns 3 and 4. Armstrong going to hold on to position as they make their way off of turn number 4. And here comes Cole Freilich now, making his way back up to the front of the field. Currently running in 4th, which is where he was after the end of the first caution. You can see there is James Gibson trying to rebound after the tough restart he had that dropped him outside of the top 5. He is stuck behind a gaggle cars at the 79 of William Schmidt, the 15 of Cole Freilich, and the 22 of Ashley Kalanick. So they're going to go 3 wide heading into turn number 3. James Gibson going to hold on to the top side. Cole Freilich, the big loser, he's going to fall back from 4th to 7th. As back up at the front, Movick holding on to the race lead. The fight's still on for a second as they have swapped lanes. Armstrong now down on the bottom. Josh Chin up on the top. As they climb up to the bankings of turns 1 and 2, they're going to go side by side off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. As they are still 3 wide, tightly 3 wide. That is the number 15 of Cole Freilich, alongside the 20 of Kendall Carpenter and the 77 of Douglas Newbigging. As they continue to go 3 wide. Tight racing here for the 7th position. Making way across the start finish line. Looks like Kendall is going to hold on to the position as they are still side by side as we are once again under caution. As we try to see what brought out this yellow flag. And it looks like it's once again going to involve the 48 of Chris Lilly and the 17 of Nathan Kiani as they make their way through the tri-oval. Kiani going to cut under, chop the nose off the 48 car, and Chris is going to finish him off because he has nowhere to go, and that's going to send Kiani spinning down onto the apron of turn number 1. We're going to see if he collects anybody as he makes his way back up the racetrack. He is going to collect the 51 of Tristan Baker, but it looks like he might have skidded away with that one. Kiani locking on the brakes as the field flies by him at full speed. Here comes a 28 car. He's going to have some significant right side damage, but he might have escaped that one. As that will now be our 3rd caution of the afternoon here. Take a look live now, back up at the front of the field. As we are now already under 100 laps to go, as we get set to start lap 40. I'm gonna try and see if there's anybody I can't talk to, because I want to try and talk to somebody about what's going on here tonight. Looks like majority of the drivers that I do want to talk to may not be in the server. Or they may not be in a position where I can drag them in, because they're in that one channel that I can't do anything about. That is unfortunate, because as well, a lot of the drivers that run with the Running Racing Designs team are in another Discord. So that takes out pretty much 1st, I want to say 3rd, definitely 5th. Takes out a couple drivers as they're going to come back across our finish line to get the 1 to go mark. The field now going to double up once again. Your current top 10 as we start lap number 40. Braden Movick, the number 42 car, has been dominant from the start. The only driver able to contest him is the 93 of Josh Chin. Back in third is the 022 of Joe Armstrong. William Schmidt, the 79 car, back and forth. James D. Gibson rounds out your top 5 as it stands, with Ashley Klonix in 6th, Cole Freilich in 7th, Kendall Carpenter 8th, Rudy Valentin in 9th, and Douglas Newbiggie in the 77 car rounds out the top 10. Looking further back, it is Marcus Smalden in 11th, Dominic Barabagalo in 12th, whereas Perry back there around the 13th position, and so on. As the field, they're all passing each other, so it's really hard to keep up with where the positions are changing, as it's changing live and not by lap. So they make their way. He turns straight and forward once again. The pace car going to take the hard left turn back down the pit road. And as the end restarts, let's see if Josh Chin is able to hold on to the side of Braden Movick. Green flag back in the air. No, he is not. Movick again going to get a solid restart. He's going to clear the outside line as they make their way back into turn number 1, as the field now spreads out once more to try and battle for position. Schmidt. And we are once again under caution. This time, it looks like it's going to involve the number 05 of Cooper Glick. As they came to the restart, people trying to anticipate. You see the accordion effect already. 65 of Austin Rep, the 33 of Isaac Johnson, the 70 of Harry Grindell. Cooper going to run right into the back of him. The 28 car going to have nowhere to go. And that's going to send them spinning down into the infield as they disappeared right then and there. So a chain reaction to put us under caution yet again here in the opening half of this race. As leader, still Braden Movick, as nothing was really able to change there as we went under caution pretty quickly. Well, let's talk to somebody who we are able to pull into the booth, and that's going to be the number 15 of Cole Freilich. Cole, the opening 43 laps of this race, it's been an eventful one. Take us through what it's like racing up here for the front.
Well, that first run, everybody was just kind of feeling out the pace, I guess. I ran easy, felt like we had a really good car. That second mini run we had, everybody pushed the pace really hard, kind of fell back a little bit, but yeah, if we can get some laps down, I think we'll be really good. It's really fun.
Yeah, you talk about how fun it is, but how gnarly is it on the tires? Because you had a pretty decent opening stint there. You went about 30 laps, and we could already see drivers like James Gibson driving it off the right rear, trying to keep it off the wall. Just how challenging is it, considering how old the surface is?
Well, the wear was a little bit better than I expected. I think that might be the rubber being put down. I mean, my tires were only about 70% worn there. So, really solid wear that first run. I don't know what we're going to look like the second run. It's been very stop-start. And I think a lot of guys are going to push the pace if we get going. So, it should be interesting to see.
All right, man. Well, good luck to you. Hopefully we get to speak to you later on in the race.
Appreciate it, buddy.
That is number 15, a Cole Freilich right now running back in the 8th position, or I should say 7th. That's just where the way live timing works. Back up at the front. Braden Movick still your race leader, with Josh Chin back in second. You can see Joe Armstrong diving down onto the apron of the racetrack. I'm not sure what that was about. So, we have tried about 2 or 3 times now to get the race back going. We have spent the last 10 or so laps under caution. The pace car once again going to take the dive back onto pit road. Can Chin anticipate the restart? No, he's going to get his back tires picked off, and there they go! All chaos is breaking loose in the back as Cole Fralick, who we just talked to, he's around as there is a parking lot. Throughout the tri-oval as they went spitting everywhere. And that started right up there at the front with Joe Armstrong and Braden Movick. That is not what you wanted to see. It's the exact same thing that we saw that brought out the last caution, except this one much, much bigger. We're going to try and get a good look at this one. So we're going to start this one by trying to look at Cole Fralick here, who we just talked to, because he was right in the middle of all of it. So you're going to see them there. Joe Armstrong does not get going. He gets spun around by the 20 of Kendall Carpenter. Douglas Newbigin gets spun as well. And all hell breaks loose right behind them. And this just involves a lot of cars. There is the 090 of Bobby Blazer, the 48 of Chris Lilly, the 70 of Jack Painter. Isaac Johnson is involved. The 83 car. That is Marcus Smalden as well. Trey Patton in the 01 car was able to get on the brakes. He was able to avoid that one. We're going to try, see if we don't have an onboard of that from his perspective. I don't think we will. Let's go ahead and take an on, see if we can get an onboard look with Isaac Johnson if we were able to. So we're going to back it up just a little bit more. See what he saw. So there's where it starts. Man, oh man. I thought he was involved with it. I thought he collected with Jack Painter. No, he did not. Good shit, Isaac. Now I want to go back a little bit further. Doesn't that look like we're going to be able to get the onboard with Trey Patton, which I really wanted to see that because he was right at the back of the field, so he had a good view of all of it. Instead, we're going to look at Chris Lilly, who was right in the smack dab middle of all of it. So you can see there's Justin Knutson right in front. Probably Sorrell on the outside. Jack Painter as well. There goes Cole. He is right in the middle of all of it. He almost made it through. He got ran through behind by somebody. There's the 090 of Bobby Blazer. So he's going to get going again. I saw him get turned a little bit later on than this. He gets going. And oh, he goes right up into the path of Marcus Smalden, who I'm going to assume had his steering broken. He could spun once again. As I really want to try and get this onboard with Trey Patton. I think we might be able to. I think it's just ATVO. No, we do not have the onboard Trey Patton. That's sad. Well, there he is right there. The field now catches up to the back of the field, the back of the pack. As the field once again is lined up double file. So, some new faces now at the front of the field. Braden Movick and Josh Chin still in the front row. William Schmidt back in the third spot. John Armstrong is falling in the fourth. Ashley Kalonix fifth. James D. Gibson in sixth. Kendall Carpenter alongside Rudy Valentin. That is the 88 car of Wellesley Person. And rounding out the top 10 is going to be Mo Perry as they're going to go back underway. And we are racing once again as they are still struggling on the restart. That is Kalonix who spun the tire at that time. They're now going to go 3 wide, once again involving James Gibson and Kendall Carpenter as they make their way through turns 1 and 2. They're now 3 wide for the runner-up spot as well, as Schmidt is going to have an incredible jump. And there goes Ashley Kalonix around. She's going to get turned by James E. Gibson after she tried to clear herself right up in front of the field, and a big wreck in the back straightaway. As iRacing does not like this. And one of the front runners from throughout this entire race is involved right in the middle of this one. The game's still trying to figure itself out as they had so many cars wrecking. The game just unable to hold itself. And you can see right there, that is the 75 car of James D. Gibson, one of the front runners tonight, one of the dominant cars in the opening half of this race, and that car tore all to hell as he spun all the way down to the infield. The front end's ripped off, the right front tire just got disconnected, the spoiler's gone, the tailgate's gone, that car is completely wrecked, and this is going to be a fast repair. So, we're going to try and take a look at the replay on this one. I doubt it's going to go well just because of the fact that iRacing was trying everything it could to crash. But this was a massive incident. So for this one, we're just going to go high above. We're going to look at the chopper cam. You can see in the orange car, that's Kendall Carpenter. The 22 car, that's Ashley Kolonix. And the 75 car, that's James Gibson. They're going to come off of turn number 2. Kendall's going to back up. Ashley has nowhere to go. Neither does James. Ashley's going to get tapped from behind. That's going to get her loose. That's going to cause her to get turned in front of the nose of James Gibson. James is going to have a massive hit. Going to go all the way down to the inside of the racetrack and slam head on into the inside wall. He's going to get fed back up the racetrack into the path of Jonathan Nose. That's where the rear damage is going to come from. As the field continues to pile in from behind, that is Spencer Madden, who went airborne. Tried to roll it over, but the car just wouldn't allow it. As a number 6 Pennzoil Ford Taurus. He's going to get hit by Nolan Sanford on his way down for good measure, as this was just a massive, massive impact. So we've had 2 back-to-back big ones here in the opening stage of this race, as a lot of drivers now are going to take their fast repairs, and that's going to put them behind the 8 ball for the rest of the night. So we're going to go ahead and try and take an onboard look here with the 6 car Spencer Madden. You can see, here comes the wreck. There goes James spinning the inside. He's going to try and check up. Oh my goodness. What a hit. Right about there is when iRacing tries to crash. Can't do much about that. The field now. Double file once again. As now your top 10. A little bit different, but all the same. Braden Movick, William Schmidt, Josh Chen. Then you're going to see back there in 3rd. That's Joe Armstrong in 4th. Kendall Carpenter in 5th. Looks to be Rudy Valentin is going to line up in 6th. The car Wesley Person alongside of him is going to be the number 16 of Jessica Knudsen. Mo Perry is going to gain a few spots up into the, I believe, 9th position. That should be Jack Painter rounding out the top 10. So the pace car, once again, going to take the dive onto pit road. Can we go green? We are back underway here in Atlanta. And Movick this time going to get the good restart as Schmidt not have the second attempt like Armstrong and Chin did to get the restart they need. So Movick now going to clear the field, heading in through turns 1 and 2. They're going to go 3 wide back there for the second spot, as last time Schmidt was able to jump from 5th up to 2nd. Now he's going to fall back as they make their way back through turns 3 and 4. As iRacing still struggling with the connection here, as we're going to try and work our way through this. Bear with me one moment here. I'm going to try and see if I can't figure out a way for it to work. Looks like we might have been figured out a way for it to calm down. I apologize for that. iRacing does not like drawing 40 cars at the same time. I do not have a stupid computer like some of the other broadcasters do. So back up at the front. Braden Movic still holding on to a half-second lead, as the battle now rages on for second between Joe Armstrong and Joshua Chin. William Schmidt back in the fourth position. Kendall Carpenter now rounds out your top five, as Josh Chin going to peek underneath the door of the number 022. He's going to take back the runner-up spot, as now he tries to cut back down on that half-second gap to Braden Movic, as we are once again back under yellow. Looks like we are actually going to be able to see this one. So this is going to involve, once again, the 05 of Cooper Glick. We're going to follow him through turns 1 and 2. You can see he's around the number 51 of Tristan Baker, the 48 of Chris... I don't know why I can't remember his name. Chris Lilly. See, there's Jonathan Oates. He's actually going to get up into the wall. Cooper going to try and avoid it. Unable to. Freilich going to spin down to the inside wall. Looks like he's going to keep it off of it. So a near miss for one of the front runners here tonight. Looks like Jonathan Oates as well might have skated away with minor damage on that one. That's going to bring out, I believe, caution number 5 or 6 of the evening at this rate. I'm not even sure anymore. Field now has made their way back down pit road. Some drivers did choose to stay out. That includes 93 of Josh Chin, 31 of Morpheus Perry. They're going to save a set of tires, as well as Nathan Barrows, Dominic Barabagallo, Douglas Newbiggie, the 02 of John Daniels. That's an interesting call. This is not. He was involved in a massive crash, so he should have some relatively new tires. That is 75 of James D. Gibson. Ashley Kolonix as well was involved in that incident. Levi Wolf. And then Braden Movic is going to be the first car on the newer tires. But with the fact that we only had about 5 laps, it shouldn't be that much of an advantage this early on. As the pace car lights should go off, we are once again going to line up double file here. The field now 2 by 2 as they make their way down the Atlanta Motor Speedway back straightaway. As we get later on into the afternoon, we're about to complete lap number 60, so we're inching ever so closer to about 50 to go. Actually, I have about 80 laps to go. Math is hard for me, alright? So now, Mo Perry. Well, new driver up at the front of the field. Josh Shen now, going to be the first time he's going to lead the field to green on the restart. Mo Perry back in second. Nathan Barrows, a 90 car, back in third as we are back underway. And Josh Shin now going to get the clean restart he needs. He's going to clear Morpheus Perry with ease as they make their way back in through turn number 1, as all hell is going to break loose right behind them. And a lot of new faces now up towards the front. They're almost 4 wide. Mo Perry going to get jacked up by the 77 car. John Daniels up into the outside wall as the cleaner tires now going to try and navigate through the older tires. They're 3 wide back for the third spot. as he goes through turns 3 and 4. James Gibson has nowhere to go. He's stuck right behind all of them. And there they go. And once again, James Gibson going to get involved as they crash down the front straightaway. And this time, some even bigger hits, and that's going to end the night for James Gibson right there. And he is not going to be happy about that. He's just going to park it and get off the track. He's done. That was a massive incident along the front straightaway. And that took out a good chunk of the front runners. So we saw it live. It starts all the way up at the front with the 71 of Dominic Barbagallo, Douglas Newbig into 77. The 71 car of Barbagallo just barely clips into the back of Mo Perry. Mo Perry's going to get loose, get right down into the Newbig into 77 car. And then it all just starts from there. Newbig has no control over the car at that point. He's going to slam into the 75 of James Gibson. But with Mo Perry back here, he actually might have gotten away with it, but you can't say the same for the guys up here, as they are spinning across the front straightaway, and by that point, iRacing loses all connection with it. So I'm going to have to try something else once again, as iRacing is just not having a fun time with this. What we have this time, I'm going to try and see if I can't do some more here. Try and make the iRacing run a bit smoother, so just bear with me. We're going to try this now. I apologize for the difficulties here. All things considered, it's not that bad. It's just you have this many cars on a racetrack, and sometimes our racing doesn't want to work. But now, as we are on lap 64, about to start lap 65, field once again. Worked our way through turns 3 and 4. So Lovick now back up towards the front of the field. Josh Chin is still your race leader, but the front row is back to where it started, with the roles reversed, but in the same lanes. So Josh Chin going to field back to green. Lovick on the inside. Green flag is back in the air. Chin is going to get the race start he's looking for. He's going to clear Lovick with ease, and here comes Ashley Klonix now back in the second position. Going to try and take the pass over Braden Lovick as they make their way through turns 1 and 2. They're going to go side by side down the back straightaway. Muvik now falling back to third. That is the lowest he's ran under green flag conditions. It might be back and fourth, as Armstrong is going to take a peek to the inside. They're going to go side by side through turns 3 and 4 as they make their way down the front straightaway. You can see there is the 78 of Rudy Valentin back in the 5th position as they cross start finish line. Muvik still going to hold on to the 3rd spot as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. As we still stay green for the moment. And you see a little bit of a bobble there for the 22 of Ashley Kolonix. And now single file out into turn number 3. Here comes Braden Muvik now, going to take the peak to try and take over the 2nd spot. As up at the front, Josh Chen, still your race leader. He holds on to a half a second gap over the 2nd spot as they're now going to go side by side for that. Muvik going to easily take it over. Kolonix with a spin. There we go. Hard into the wall. Cautions it back out. This time it looks like iRacing might have actually caught that one. This is going to start pretty much all the way. I'm going to go all the way back to turn number 4. So you can see there's Muvik on the inside trying to commit the pass to take back the 2nd spot. Ashley is going to go tight. She's going to collide with the outside wall as he comes across the start finish line. You can see the car is already bobbling and she is just chasing this thing up the hill. And then eventually the car is going to go into turn number 1. And she just loses all control of it right down into the path of Rudy Valentin and Kendall Carpenter. Kendall going to have some significant damage to the front end of his machine as Ashley goes spinning. The field looks like they're all going to avoid it for the most part as she parks it down on the bottom. We're going to continue looking to see if anybody arc or break their way to the back of it, but it doesn't look like it. Looks like that one stayed clean for the most part. Since we have a chance now, we can actually try and take a look at an onboard of one of the guys who's involved in that. That being the 20 of Kendall Carpenter, who I can already see on timing and scoring. It looks like he did go down pit road to get damage repair, which I don't blame him because you're going to see why. So there's Ashley going for the spin. He's going to try and dive high. As we now join Josh Chen back up at the front of the field. We're now on lap 69. Nice. As I want to say, we're probably about 30 laps on these stop and go restarts. Not what you want to see, obviously. This is really solid start for the opening 20 laps, but it's all gone downhill from there. The pace car lights are going to go off. We're going to try this again. Josh Chen electing the top side once again. That works so well for him. You can see there's Cooper Glick as well as Nathan Kiani. Going to sneak their way back out of pit road to keep themselves on a lead lap. Field now makes their way through turns 1 and 2. So now as the pace car lights are off, Gonna make the way back through turns 3 and 4. We've gone about 20 or so laps with these little short runs. Let's see if we can't get a long run in again as we enter the late stages of this race. The pace car gonna take the dive back down to pit road. It's gonna be Josh Chin and Braden Movick leading us back to green. They are already touching. That's not gonna go well. That's going to allow Movick to stay side by side with them as they make their way through the tri-oval. We are back underway. Movick going to peek the nose out front as they make their way to the banking. Movick with a half a car length lead as Chin is going to roll the top. He's going to get the run he needs off of turn number 2. He's going to clear him, hold on to the front spot as he is checked up now. Right in front of 78 car Valentine did not pit, so he's going to try and deal with that right side damage. Here comes Joe Armstrong now, peeking his nose underneath the 42 car. He's going to take over the second spot. Movick now falling back like a rock. He's under pressure from the 78 car with the 16 of Justin Knudsen right behind him. There's a look out of the rear view as they are wrecking behind. So once again, another yellow. This involves the number 27 of Bailey Thompson. So we're going to go back a little bit further to see the start of this one. You can already see what happens. Thompson checks up for the corner. Just going to cut down into the path. The car might have gotten a little bit loose, but just loose enough to where she cuts down into the path of the 6 of Spencer Madden. He's just going to spin right in front of the field, right in the path of Mo Perry, who painted that car. He's going to get a little bit of damage. She continues to slide it through turns 1 and 2. Some considerable front damage there. The nose trying to rip off as the field makes their way by her. So as we make our way back up towards the front of the field, interesting development here. As Josh Chin has made the decision to come back down pit road, he's going to take 4 tires. Went about, I want to say, probably 15 laps on that run, but just because of the amount of cautions he had, he didn't exactly get the amount of laps he would have liked out of that. Now he's going to try and charge his way. Currently scored back in about the 26th position as he comes off pit roads. He's going to start deep in the field. Some other updates as well. Cole Freilich scored right now in the 29th position. Madeline Roten, who was involved in one of the first cautions that kicked off all this, she's back in 21st. William Schmidt's back in 24th. Ashley Kolonix, who was involved in one of the cautions, she is back just within the top 30. Then as for some of the other drivers, Marcus Smalden in the 83 car, he has parked it. His day's done. James D. Gibson, one of the front runners, one of the dominant cars in the early half of this race. We saw him dive out. He's out of the race. Some drivers a lap down includes the 71 car of Dominic Barbagallo, Kendall Carpenter, Harry Grindell in the 70 car, who had some major damage due to that checkup restart that caused a lot of cars to spin to the infield, as well as Levi Wolf, Cole Freilich, Jade Gray. It shows Josh Chin is lap down, but I don't buy that. I think it's waiting for them to cross back around. Regardless, now the field now double file once again. Braden Movick, still your race leader, resumes the point after starting on pole. Joe Armstrong in second on the outside. Ree Valentin in third. Justin Knudsen in fourth. Wesley Persons rounds out the top 5. John Daniels in the O2 car back up into the 6th spot. Austin J. Rip. Diego Roldan, who was involved in an earlier crash, he now finds himself in 8th. 9th is going to be Douglas Newbigin and Spencer Madden. Rounds of the top 10. The pace car back down pit road. The field in the hands of Braden Movick. They're going to enter the restart zone, and we're back underway. The field now making their way through turns 1 and 2. This time they're going to go side by side. Here comes Knutson now, trying to make a charge. He's going to have a good run off of turn number 2. He's going to try and peek the nose under to go 3 wide. He's not able to do it. Here comes Rudy Valentin now. Also peeking his nose up to try and take a fight for the race lead. They're still side by side between Armstrong and Movick as they make their way off of turn number 4. Down the front straightaway. Armstrong's going to lead his first laps of the night. As Rudy Valentin is going to take over the 2nd spot. He's going to use the outside line to his advantage. He's going to take the fight to the number 42 car. Here comes Knutson as well. So Movick under some serious fire here as he gets loose off of turn number 2. He's going to go down to the middle to block Knutson's run. Valentin's still up against the wall. He's going to have a clear shot to take over the 2nd position. So Movick now going to follow line back behind Valentin. Valentin now going to try and work over the number 022 Joe Armstrong to take over the race lead. Top 5 right now. Armstrong, Valentin, Movick, Knutson. How about Diego Roldan holding on to a top 5 spot right now? He has a 0.2 of a second gap over Wesley Person, who is under fire from John Daniels for the 6th position. But back up front, it is all Joe Armstrong. Like I said, this is a guy who may not run the full season. He may not be here running for points, but when he does show up, he is one of the guys you want to watch out for, because the moment he gets clean air, the moment he gets comfortable, the moment he gets consistent, he becomes one of the most dangerous drivers on this racetrack. He's going to be so tough to beat now as the field continues to fight hard back behind him. Valentin gets around Knutson for 3rd. Let's take an update on Joshua Chen. Paid under that last caution, fell back to the 23rd spot. He has made his way around Adam Harrington, now running up in 22nd, trying to take the pass on Nolan Sanford for 21st. So there is a gaggle of cars up in front of them. They're going to go 3 wide. That's Austin J. Rip, Kendall Carpenter, and the 090 of Bobby Blazer. They do settle out, but they are still 2 wide as they make their way through turns 1 and 2. Up ahead of him, the 28 car, Nicholas Bludemic. Side by side with Chris Lilly. That is for about the 13th spot as they try to catch up to Spencer Madden, who is running in 12th. Back up at the point is still Joe Armstrong, but here comes Braden Movick now. Got the clean air around Rudy Valentin. He lost the pressure from the 78 car, and now he is bringing the fight to try and take back the race lead as we complete lap number 80, now on 81. Down the backstretch they go. The 42 car tugs right behind the 022 as they make their way down the back straightaway. He's going to try and use the clean air up on the high side to get himself a bit of a runoff of turn number 4. Doesn't seem to get it right there. He is still tucking ever close to the gap now under a 1/10 of a second. It's about half a tenth as they make their way across the start finish line. That time by Cooper Glick, making his way out of pit road as he goes through turns 1 and 2. Mother going to run up against the wall. Can he get alongside? No, he cannot. Joe Armstrong still holds on to the top spot. Looking further back as well, how about this? Jonathan Oates. A strong run up there. I want to go back up front, though, because of course I did this. I pulled a Fox Sports. I apologize for that. Movick does now get the nose underneath the 022 of Joe Armstrong. They're going to go side by side. They go across the start finish line as the fight is now on for the race lead, and Movick going to easily clear the 022 of Armstrong as he takes back the race lead. He has been dominant all night long so far. It's been Movick versus against the world pretty much since the drop of the green flag. He's took on all challengers from James D. Gibson to Joshua Chen, now Joe Armstrong. Those are pretty much the 3 best drivers that he's going to have to face all night. And right now he is far and away the favorite in the early half of this race, as we are now under 50 laps to go here in Atlanta. The gap now about a half second once again. Joe Armstrong back in 2nd. I believe he might have run through his tires. He is falling like a rock right now. The gap about a half second. It grows. Rudy Valentin still in 3rd, but quickly gaining momentum on the 022 cars. He might take over 2nd spot here in the next few laps. Justin Knutson How about that? The 16 car, the Nathan Keani tax service machine. Now running up in the 4th position. He is holding on strong to it too. He's been quiet most of the night. Was running inside the top 10. Now he finds himself inside the top 5. And he's quickly knocking in the door here to possibly get a podium finish. And Diego Roldan. Just a massive shout out to him. He's been quiet as well. Started outside the top 10. I want to say outside the top 20 as well. And he has just put the laps down. But he's about to come under fire for the 77 in New Bigging. And that Jeff Gordon inspired number 77 machine. As the top 2nd through 5th, tightly under a gaggle of cars as the field is just getting held up by Joe Armstrong. As here comes Roldan now. Gonna peek the nose. Underneath of Jessica Knudsen, they're gonna go side by side. 2 turns, 3 and 4. Knudsen gonna get the run he needs off the corner. He's gonna hold on to it for the time being. Here comes Knudsen now with a run. He's gonna try and possibly peek the nose under Rudy Valentine. He's gonna hold on to it for right now. Roldan now gonna try and work the middle as all 3 of these cars try to find some bit of clean air. Knudsen gonna slide up in front of the 29 car. As now Valentine gonna get up and away and try and build himself a bit of a gap. As the fight still rages on, here comes Roldan now, peeking the nose back underneath Knudsen, side by side to turns 3 and 4. Can he get the pass this time by? Nope, same story as before. They come across the line as we are now officially starting to tick off some laps once again. You spent about 40 laps under caution. Now that the field's kind of thinned the herd out, we're now able to get some green flag running in. But up at the front, it is all Braden Movick. A 1 second gap right now over Joe Armstrong. Rudy Valentine, like I said, in 3rd. Knudsen in 4th. Diego Roldan in 5th. New Bigging 6th. Oates in 7th. That's who I wanted to highlight when the pass for the lead happened. Spencer Madden in 8th. Was involved in a couple cautions. Tristan Baker in 9th. Wesley Person came into the race, I believe, 3rd or 4th in the points. He now finds himself inside the top 10. As for your Josh Chin update, last time we saw him, he's running back in about the 22nd spot. He now finds himself up in 14th, trying to work over Presley Sora here. Down the back straightaway, he's going to get a massive run. He's just going to shoot right by him, so he is quickly ticking off some laps. He is making moves left, right, and center. As he makes his way across the start-finish line, now scored in the 13th spot, but quickly charging to catch up to Wesley Person and Chris Lilly. Movick, though, now holding on to a 1.2 second lead as he makes his way through turns 3 and 4 down the front straightaway. Going to start lap 91. As now Valentine, who himself has about a half-second gap over 4th place Jessica Knudsen, going to try and bring the fight to take over P3. But up here, Roldan was trying to bring the fight to Knudsen. Now he's under fire from Douglas Newbigging. Newbigging now going to take a peek to the inside. He's going to have a bit fresher tires as Roldan might have spent too much time trying to fight. 16 car might have run through his tires. You can see the car trying to step out there. Newbigging going to peek the nose under. Not able to do anything with it just yet. As now Spencer Madden, I tried to say Ray, apologies, I've been trying to fix that. He's going to try and work the top side to get around 77 car. On board with him now. Newbigging going to give him the outside line as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. They're still going to stay side by side. But Madden going to make quick work of him. Madden now up to 6th. As Knudsen again is falling back to Roldan. As now Knudsen has a 7/10 of a second gap to make up if he wants to try and pass Rudy Valentine. Roldan now in position to try and strike to take back the 4th position. Knudsen going to run up high. Roldan going to try and diamond off the bottom. Massive slide for the 29 car. He's going to lose a ton of momentum. That's going to allow Madden to get the run he needs. He's going to try and take a peek to the inside. Can't do anything there. Newbigging still under fire now. Trying to hold on to the 7th spot. Jonathan Oates in the 73 car. Trying to take over that spot. as the fight in the top 10 still rages on. Josh Chen, however, still climbs his way up to the field. Started back in about the 26th position. In these opening 10 laps since the restart, he now finds himself up in 11th. You see there, low, 26. That was where he was at in the restart. He started second. The high has been first, and he's about to crack his way back inside the top 10. As he has been on fire all night long. But the question is, if this stays green, does he have enough time and have enough pace to catch up to number 42 car, Braden Movick? The gap he has right now to the leader, 5.5 seconds. You saw there, that was Wesley Person who collided with the outside wall for turn number 2. Back up at the front, Movick still large and in charge. The gap, though, is starting to fall. Armstrong, which we've seen before, he's been saving his tires a little bit early on in the run and then starts to come alive here in the second half. As now some lapped car is going to play a factor. That's Ashley Kolonix. The front end ripped off her machine. She was involved in a couple accidents after running inside the top 10 early on. She's now trying to hang on, currently running back in the 23rd position. She now goes one lap down. I believe that is Cooper Glick, who is also ahead of the field, as now the gap back to 0.8 of a second as Armstrong going to try and get around Kolonix, but with the timing of where it's at, he's going to lose a bit of a gap. As now the gap about to go over a second once more, as Valentin makes his way around the slower traffic. That is the 71 car of Dominic Barabagallo, who was involved in our last caution, as we are once again under yellow. Speaking of cautions, the caution back out on the speedway. We were able to find the incident here. Sorry about that. This is going to involve the 88 of Wesley Person, who we saw a couple laps ago, collecting the outside wall. He is 3 wide. You can see there's Isaac Johnson there in the middle. Cole Furlick down on the bottom. Nolan Sanford, Bobby Blazer behind him. And they just start beating and banging here to turns 1 and 2. Credit to Person. He saved it the first time. Isaac Johnson slid up and into him. And that kind of started the reaction, but yeah, no. iRacing starts to crash right then and there, but you can already see what was taking place as that started. Johnson got turned into the outside wall as he tried to avoid the chaos that took place behind him. And all hell just broke loose on behind. Trying to get a clear look at the wreck, see if we can't find anything. But I think with how far back they were, it's just going to hide them. So the field is back under yellow. The pace car lights are out. Josh Chin has recycled his way back up to the front as everybody behind him did pit. Josh Chin, who had charged his way up to 11th. Now on about, I want to say, 10, 20 lap older tires. He's going to have a challenge to try and get himself back up here to hold on to the top spot. But if anybody's going to be able to do it, it's going to be that 93 car. So 2 fastest cars all night long. Now inside and outside on row number 1. Chin, no surprise, he's done it every single time that he's been in the lead, chooses to start up on the top. Back in third, you can see there is Joe Armstrong. Rudy Valentin holds on to the 4th spot. I wait to see who's in 5th, but Armstrong is hanging so far back, you can't even tell. I want to say it might be Tristan Baker. It could be Spencer Madden. So make their way through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. The pace car lights are off yet again. And a decent green flag run. Let's see if we can finish it now. As when we go green, it's going to be 30 laps to go here in Atlanta. Oh, they delayed the caution. Well, blue ball effect. So when we go green, it's going to be 29 laps. Pace car lights now off. Might have been because I think Nolan Sanford tried to pass the pace car to get his lap back when he exited the pits, and they might have thrown it for that. I'm not sure. They make their way down the back straightaway. Once again, it is going to be Chin, Mavic, Armstrong, Valentin, and Madden. Diego Roldan back in 6th, Jonathan Oates 7th, Tristan Baker 8th, Jessica Knudsen 9th, William Schmidt back up in the top 10. They make their way out of turn 4. The pace car is going to take the hard left turn once again. He's getting some mileage on that Ford Mustang as they make their way back into the restart zone. Mother going to crowd him once again, but this time not going to get the restart he's looking for. And we are back under green. 29 laps to go here in Atlanta. Chin gets the restart he's looking for. He's going to clear him with ease heading into turn number 1. Armstrong going to take the peak underneath Braden Mavic as the fight is on for second. Valentin trying now as Armstrong loses momentum off turn number 2. He's going to fall and have lost all the cars. There they are. Two turns 1 and 2 they go. They're about to go 3 wide there for second. And as Armstrong, Valentin, and Mavic. Mavic has fallen back to 4th, now under fire from Roldan for the 5th spot. As Chin has shot out of a rocket now, a half a second gap to the 022 of Armstrong. As Armstrong now holding strong up into the top spot as they are 3 wide on behind him. That is a gaggle of race cars right behind Knudsen. That is Tristan Baker in the 51 car. Madden up there on the high side. Here comes Schmidt now. Going to pick the nose in to go 3 wide alongside Oates. As they make their way off of turn number 4. As they cleared themselves out. Oates now peeking the nose underneath Schmidt. That is for about the 8th position. As Oates going to take the position as they make their way through turn number 1. Incredible racing here in the mid-pack. As up front, though, it is still Josh Chin holding on strong, trying to keep at bay the 42 car of Mavic. Mavic right now needs to get around the 022 of Joe Armstrong. So the gap right now a half second from first to second, and it is a half second between second and third. So it's a second gap between Chin and Mavic as the field fights on behind them. Is now Valentin going to try and take a peek for P number 4 as they go through turns 1 and 2. Look, now with Braden Mavic, let's go on board and see behind him. The sun sets here in Atlanta. We approach under 20 laps to go. Mavic holding on strong once again. This is what we come to expect. Top 3 breakaway between the 3 best drivers the league has to offer right now. Josh Chin, Joe Armstrong, and Braden Mavic. As Roldan, who's had an incredible second half of this race, has stayed quiet, but ever since the 2 restarts ago, has been a factor in the top 5 for the last 20 to 30 laps. As he holds on strong to fend off against Rudy Valentin and Jessica Knudsen. Josh Chin, though, still in the lead. Armstrong slowly picking away at gap, though. It was about a half a second a couple laps ago. Now it's about 3.39 of a second. They make their way back through 3 and 4. Armstrong going to start to peel a bit of the gap away even further. As Soda is Braden Movick. Movick could have about a half a second gap to Joe Armstrong. Now at about 4/10. He's closing up about a 10th. Joe Armstrong now closed another 10th that time by. The gap is now down to 3/10 of a second. We're about to have a fight for the race lead here in not too long. There is a look at the battle as it stands. The gap right now, 0.42 seconds as they make their way off turn number 4. As we cross the line, it's going to be 21 laps to go here in Atlanta. Chin still holding off. Joe Armstrong has a caution yet again as a back out. As this one's going to involve the 79 car, or 73 of Jonathan Oates, and the 79 car William Schmidt. As they come to the tri-oval, Oates gets a little bit loose, right in the path of Schmidt. Schmidt has nowhere to go. He's going to turn him right into the outside wall, right into the path of everybody. Spencer Madden, a strong save to keep it from getting turned. Schmidt, though, hard contact into the outside wall. Looks like this might stay a 2-car incident for the time being. Yes, it will. So once again, under caution here, as we're going to be under 20 laps to go. As the field now going to make their way down pit road. To no one's surprise, really. A lot of the front runners now. Going to try and get some last-minute tires to get them to the end of this race. Here's a look at the head of the field. Valentin getting the jump off pit road this time. Possibly a 2-tire strategy going on here at the front. Up at the front, though, some drivers did choose to stay out. A good chunk of them, too. Braden Movick, Diego Roldan now lines up second. Knutson in third. Tristan Baker fourth. Cole Freilich, who had run up in the top 10 in the early portion of this race, was involved in a caution a long time ago. He stays out. Jump himself back up to fifth. Mosley Person now in sixth. Nicholas Budimlik, I think that's how it is, M28 car, in seventh. Nathan Barrows eighth. Corey Rexford, a strong jump for him, the 03 car. He lines up ninth. Madeline Roten now in the 10th spot. As more cars are going to start to make their way down pit road here. As for the drivers that did pit, as one of the drivers that did pit was Travis Rowland. The field now going to start to double up. You can also see now, there are the drivers that pitted under this last caution. So at the head of it is going to be Rudy Valentin. He's going to restart in the 14th position. So for Josh Chin, one of the dominant cars all night long, this is going to be his view here for the final about 17 laps when we go back green. Starting all the way back in row number 8. Can he charge it here in the final few laps? Try and bring the fight to Braden Movick. That's going to be the question. at the head of the field. Bubik now. Electing the outside line. He saw Chin use it multiple times. He's going to try and use it to his own advantage here to try and hold off the field for what could be the final restart of the 9. Fingers crossed. Muvik rolled in the front row as they make their way into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. We are racing once again in Atlanta. Jumble up restart behind. They are 4 wide heading into turn number 1. And Josh Chen's going to go sideways. He's going to overcorrect into the outside wall. Joe Armstrong is involved. The 7 Levi Wolf is involved. Multiple cars are around as we are back under caution. Don't need a replay. You saw that one live. We got one. As we are yet again under caution, it is going to involve one of the dominant forces all night long. Not what you wanted to see. Let's go all the way back to the restart for this one. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go on top of the tower. So here we go. New tires versus old tires. A lot of guys up further than where they usually start. Tires spinning. Jumbled up mess on the restart. They're going to make their way through turn number 1. There is that 4 wide mess that I was pointing out. Armstrong as well got loose heading in the corner. Levi Wolf chases up the hill. Chin peeking it underneath Valentin. Tries to keep it from turning the 78 car. The car is going to stick loose and right into the outside wall. Netcode is going to take out the 022 car. And then the crash just starts. The 6 car of Spencer Madden involved. He has the hood up. He can't see anything. So that's going to be driver we're going to ride on board with for this one. Because that's going to be a view. He had quite a view of all this, so I'm going to go right back to it. Matter of fact, we're going to go right to the roll bar. Oh, it's not even a better view. So we're just going to go on board. So there's the 4 wide start up ahead. Madden going to go through turn number 1. Here's where the wreck starts. You see Chin slamming up into the outside wall. And he can't see anymore. So disappointing end for that one, as this one's going to bring us under 10 to go now. Field now. Back off turn 4. The top 5 as it stands. Muvik, Roldan, Knutson, Baker, and Wesley Person back up in the 5th. They're going to make their way across the start-finish line. With the pace car lights off, Muvik going to elect the inside line this time. He chose outside, now he's going to go inside. He's going to throw Roldan for a loop. William Schmidt going to sneak his way back out to try and keep himself on the lead lap. As the field doubles up with little over, I should say, 10 laps to go. We're looking at 13. We're probably going to go green with 12 here. Here's a look at the complete running order of the top 10. There's Muvik, Roldan, Knutson, Baker, Person. Frelick's back in 6th. Nathan Barrows in 7th. Nathan Budimlik in 8th. I got it right that time. Mallory wrote in 9th. Bo Perry holding on to a strong result right now in the 10th spot. He has 10 laps to hold on to this one this time. Try and get a decent point result. So now, off of turn number 4, the pace car going to dive back down on the pit road. They're going to go through the restart zone. We're going to go green with about 12 laps to decide this one. Green flag is back in the air, and Braden Muvik gets turned. And the chaos breaks out behind as once again a parking lot unfolds across the front straightaway. Oh my goodness, what a wreck. And this wreck is going to probably fall on the 16 car of Braden Movick. So you're going to see there's the field coming through the restart zone. Knudsen tries to anticipate the restart, runs right into the back of the 42 of Movick. He gets jacked up. Person jacks up Knudsen, and then it's game on from there. Just about everybody is involved in this. There is Bo Perry, who I said needed to hold on to final 10 laps. With that might have been the commentator's curse. Valentin gets involved. Kendall Carpenter gets involved. Presley Sora's involved. Bobby Blazer gets a piece of it. John Daniels might have sneaked his way through. Josh Chen didn't sneak his way through. There is the 26 car. That is Jade Gray, who had to use a provisional to make his way into the starting field for tonight. Jonathan Oates was way in the back. He's able to avoid it. Let's go ahead. We're going to take an onboard look now with the 16 of Justin Knudsen. You see, there's the anticipation. There's the wreck. It's just all carnage breaks up behind him. That took out a lot of strong competitors who had a shot at the win tonight. As with 10 laps to go, that's going to do nothing but except erase any shot they had of it. One of those being the 42 of Braden Movick, who right now scored back in 32nd. So here is his view. We're actually going to go, let's take a look behind. And there he is. He's going to get jacked up. He has a front row view to watch all this. He's going to get back on the gas. Try and navigate his way back through this. Now what you want to see here this late in the run. He's been so dominant all night long from start to finish. As the field now has doubled up once more. We're now at 10 to go. The running order right stands right now. Diego Roldan now, the race leader. He has elected to jump up to the top side. Tristan Baker now lines up second. He's on the inside. Cole Fralick, who we talked to earlier in the 15 car, he's going to roll off third. 28, Nicholas Budimlik. I did say that wrong. It's Nicholas Budimlik. He starts fourth with Nathan Rudy Val. I believe that's Nathan Barrows in the 090 car. He's going to start back at fifth. Rudy Valentin's going to start sixth. So as they make their way through turns 3 and 4, it's going to be a 10-lap dash to decide this. As your update for the final few cars, some of the front runners all night long. Trying to find them in the running order here. They're so far back I can't even find them. Josh Chin, back at 17th. Armstrong 16th. Make their way into the restart zone. The field in the hands of Diego Roldan for the first time tonight. Green flag is back in the air. We are back underway here in Atlanta. Nicholas Budimlik going to get a good restart. He's going to jump all the way up to second. Tristan Baker got caught sleeping. He's going to take the whole field behind him. As now Roldan holding on to a strong race lead. And to make their way off turn number 2, you can see Kendall Carpenter there get loose. Baker and Fralick both get loose as they fight back there for the third spot. As now, a lot of these drivers can smell blood in the waters. The 3 front runners all night long are out of contention here in the final 9 laps. So now, a lot of drivers who may not have had a shot at the win are now in position to possibly steal this one. Diego now holding on to the race lead. He has a 3-10-second gap as John Daniels is in the wall. He holds on to it. We stay green. Roldan now. 3-10-second gap. Nicholas Budimlik in second. There's a 3-car fight going on back there for the third spot. That is going to involve and the cautions back out. Right as I said it. Right as I said it. Trying to see if I have a view of it. I don't believe I do. It does not look like we do. So I apologize for that, but it looks like we're not going to be able to see this one. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I really want to. So now, 6 laps to go. We should get the one to go next time by, meaning we'll go green with 4 remaining. Roldan, still your race leader as it stands. With Budimlik in second, Valentin in third, Freilich in fourth, Newbigin in fifth. Pretty unique top 5 as it stands. As Roldan, I believe, he first, second, I want to say fifth as well. All looking for their first OSRL win. And with the few laps remaining and the amount of cars still in the running, they have a pretty good shot of it. For the update for the drivers who are the dominant factors all night long, Joe Armstrong has climbed his way back up to 9th. He's in the top 10. Josh Chen back in 12th, right behind Kendall Carpenter. And for Braden Movick, all the way back in 28th. The most dominant driver all night long is not going to have a shot at the win. So when we go green, it'll be 4 to go. If we get another caution, we're going to go into OSRL overtime. Heaven forbid. It is now Roldan, Budimlik, Valentin, Freilich, Newbigin. That is your top 5. Freilich got caught up with Tristan Baker on the restart. That dropped him like a rock. He's not going to have the leader on his right in front of him on the outside lane. That should give him a bit of a better chance at a restart here. Valentin as well. Going to try and capitalize on this one. They go through turns 3 and 4. For what is hopefully the final time here tonight. The pace car going to dive it back down on a pit road and back into the hands of the 29 in and out Chevrolet Monte Carlo of Diego Roldan. 4 laps to go. Who is going to win it here in Atlanta? Green flag is back out. We are racing once again. Valentin spins the tires. That's going to allow Freilich to clear for 3rd. Here comes Chris Lilly now. Going to try and take a peek back for the 3rd spot. As up at the front is Roldan and Budimlik. 1-2. Here comes Freilich now. Going to make the charge on the outside. They're going to go side by side down the back straightaway. As Freilich going to try and make easy work of the 28 car. They're going to go side by side through 3 and 4. As they come to the line, there's going to be 3 laps to go here in Atlanta. Freilich now up to 2nd. The gap as it stands. 1/10 of a second, and here comes Freilich, the madman, charging on the outside. We are still green. By God, we are still green. Down the back straightaway. Valentin, slide the tires. Do not tell me I just cursed this. They hang on to it. Thank you, boys. They hang on to it. Roldan now. 0.2 of a second. Freilich trying to do what he can to charge for the lead. As they come off of turn number 4, the sticks are in the air. 2 laps left here in Atlanta. On board with Cole Freilich. You're going to use the bottom line in turns 1 and 2. The gap. 1/10 of a second still. Off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway they go. Freilich going to try and put a charge together. It's going to have to be done on the last lap. Freilich now peeking up top. They're going to hang on to it. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go here in Atlanta. Here comes Freilich now. Going to peek down to the inside. They're going to go side by side through turns number 1. Freilich with the advantage. He's going to squeeze up into the path of the 29 car. They make contact. Down the back straightaway. Roldan's going to clear him. Can he hang on? Chris Lilly back in 3rd. He's going to try and use momentum to go for a shot at 2nd. Freilich now on the top side. Through turn number 4. He's not going to have enough. With one final charge, Frelick's gonna spin the tires, but it might not be enough. Roldan's gonna get his first career victory in OSRL. An incredible finish to decide this one as Frelick gets turned into the outside wall for good measure. Diego Roldan started at 22nd, was as low as 35th. He steals one tonight here in Atlanta. An incredible finish to decide it here. You can see multiple drivers giving congratulations to the 29 car. Here comes Joe Armstrong, one of the dominant factors all night. Unable to get it done. Chris Lilly as well. You saw Josh Shin trying to do it. I don't think he had enough time to do it. And here we go. You deserve this one. A little kiss into the outside wall for good measure. He is enjoying every minute of this one. So as he parks it along the front straightaway, let's go ahead and take a rundown of your finishing results here. As we await for the drivers, gives them some time to debrief and then make their way into the waiting room. Diego Roldan, your winner here tonight in Atlanta. Cole Frelick, a strong, valiant effort by half a tenth of a second, falls just short of the win. Chris Lilly, an incredible run. He finishes third. Nicholas Budimlik holds on to fourth. Joe Armstrong, a valiant run back up towards the front. He rounded the top five. Rudy Valentin started back in third on the final restart. He falls to sixth. Harry Grindell in seventh. Kendall Carpenter eighth. Douglas Newbigging had a decent chance to get a solid result. He falls back to ninth. Josh Chen, a strong rebound. He rounds out the top 10. In 11th is going to be the 51 of Tristan Baker. Jack Painter in the 97 car finishes 12th. Jonathan Oates in the 73 finishes 13th. Corey Rexford a strong result in 14th. Presley Zora in 15th with his teammate Bobby Blazer back in 16th. Levi Wolf in 17th. Nolan Sanford 18th. Wesley Person in 19th. Cooper Glick rounds out the top 20. 21st is going to be the 02 of John Daniels. Nathan Barrows rounds out 22nd. Trey Patton 23rd. William Schmidt in the 79 car rounds out 24th. Nathan Chiani 25th. Dominic Barbagallo in 26th. Madeline Roten back in 27th. Spencer Madden, who's running up towards the top 5, he falls all the way back to P28. Braden Movick, the most dominant car of the night. The guy who probably should have won this race gets caught up in a late race incident. He finishes 29th. Ashley Kolonix rounds at the top 30. 31st, Justin Knutson, who was the person who turned Braden Movick on the restart. He finished 31st. He was the last car on the lead lap. Travis Rowland in the 32nd position, one lap down. Jade Gray used a provisional, started all the way in the last position. He finishes 33rd, 2 laps down. Bailey D. Thompson in 34th. Mo Perry in 35th. Austin Rep 36th. Isaac Johnson in 37th. Adam Harrington 38th. James Gibson, who was one of the front runners all night long in the early portions of the race, he finishes back at 39th, 69 laps down. Nice. Marcus Smalden as well, 69 laps down in 40th. And then some of the cars you're going to see who did not start tonight, who DNQ'd, they round out the rest of the running order. So without further ado, let's see if we have some drivers in the waiting room. Yes, we do. We're going to go ahead and drag up the man of the hour, Diego Roldan. A dominant run all night long. I believe this is your first career win here in OSRL. Tell us how you got it done.
Oh man, dude, it's such a good feeling to like win in this league, especially with a league with a reputation, knowing to be good. But this race tonight, it was kind of a chaotic one. You had a couple of cautions here and there, especially in that middle stint of the race. But overall, we tried keeping our nose clean throughout the entire run. Not try not to make any rivals. Helped out my teammates when I can. Shout out to Nicholas Buttumlicker and Chris Lee, my team owner, helping me out on the strategy calls. Staying out when we needed to, pitting in with the others. But man, dude, it's just such a good feeling, man. Racing with Cole in those final laps, just banging each other, just like door to door slamming. That's racing right there.
You talked about that battle you had with Cole Frelick there, especially on those final 5 laps. You see him in your rearview mirror breathing down your neck, the gap getting smaller and smaller, and then eventually side by side on the final lap. How do you deal with the pressure of that, knowing what's at stake here in this first career win?
Oh man, especially this is my second race here in this league, so I don't really know anyone here, but I know Cole is one of those like big guys in like the iRacing league. So seeing him behind my rear bumper and my worn out tires, and then knowing that he has the fresher, maybe better tires, it's crazy because he's just like throughout that like last 5 laps, I think 3 laps, just breathing down my neck. Like at any point he could just like come to the outside, pack air on my rear bumper, get me loose, and just like zoom on past me. But I'm glad that we kept it clean in those final laps, and we made it out victorious.
And as you look ahead to the next few races here, you start off the season with a decent finish at Daytona. You now have a win on your second race of the season. That's going to put you in a good spot for the points. How do you look ahead to try and keep those momentum rolling to give yourself a shot at the championship?
Oh yeah, no. Mainly the first thing we're gonna be focusing on is consistency. Sorry. Uh, just trying to get those top 5, top 10 runs when we can. Staying out of trouble. Not trying to be the cause of many cautions. Maybe get ourselves like a penalty or suspended. Just keep our noses clean. Uh, be consistent throughout the season and hopefully repeat what we've done this race.
Before I let you go here, first career win here in OSRL. Do you have anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank my main sponsor, In-N-Out Burgers, providing the best West Coast burgers, here in California. Quaker Steak for being on the car. Telcel, being the internet provider that we needed. Chris Silly for being my team owner of Uprise. Nicholas, for just being my teammate out there. And that's it.
Well, congratulations on the first career win, man. Hopefully get to see more out of you as the season rolls on.
All right, appreciate it, man.
And next up, we're going to bring up the runner-up. He is known as the Madman, and boy, did he put on a show here to finish this one off. A less than half of a tenth of a second to decide it here. What did it take out there to try and take over that lead from the 29 car?
Dude, I don't know what happened. It all fell into place. And I told Diego that Rudy was on fresh tires. Like, so I just kind of made a deal like, hey, if we just launch early here, I think we got him. And turns out we did in fact have them. So yeah, dude, I drove off into one. I wanted to get to the outside. I really did, but they were just had too big of a closing rate to get there. So I knew I couldn't get on the outside in turn one. So I tried to drive it into one, drove it in way too freaking hard. Doored him up the track, didn't mean to do that. And I was like, okay, just regroup. Maybe I can pull the Carl Edwards here. And I ran through the top and it got right up on him, and then it just got freaking loose, dude. I had nothing after that, but I mean that was badass. That was awesome. It just sucks that the rest of the race was terrible because I mean we have a good crowd. I don't know what the hell our deal is, but I mean we had that really good 30 lap run, and then everybody just lost their freaking minds. It was like a full moon outside.
You talk about that chaotic wreckfest that took place throughout the midpoint of the race. By that point, you had been involved in a couple cautions and fell back. That kind of worked out in your advantage, though, don't you think? Because by the end of it, when you had that 10-lap run to the finish, you were up inside the top 10 to have a shot at the win.
Yeah, it's one of those things where things work out. I was out of tires with 30 to go because hell, I spun so damn much I used up all my tires. But yeah, it was just one of those things where we weren't really going fast or we weren't really going long enough for it to make a great big difference. I know some of those newer tires were starting to close a little bit, but it wasn't something where it was like a great close in, So yeah, it was just kind of one of those things. You manage it, and yeah, I don't know, man. That was it became old Atlanta there at the end, but I really wish we could have gone green through the middle of this because I think it would have been a blast.
You know, you come off of Daytona. I was with you for that race of how much of a struggle that was for you, both frustratingly, but also knowing what you had at stake to possibly get the win and start off the season with a strong points result. You come into Atlanta, runner up finish, might not be the win, but looking ahead into the rest of the season, that's going to set you up pretty nicely to have a run at a second championship.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to think so, but I mean, we got a lot of good talent in this league this season. So, which hell, I this is weird because this is the second season in a row I've ran the Red Bull car for the second race, and I finished second in the Red Bull car. So I don't know if I need to run them more or what, but we'll be in the Zack Top. Oh, damn it, I can't remember what the album's called, but we'll be in a Zack Top car next week for the music race.
Before I let you go here, you have anybody you want to thank before we let you settle in for the night?
Yeah, thank you everybody that helps me out. Thank the KFR crew, Kiani, Freilich, Ray Racing. I want to thank Simrat Market. I'm a pretty big ambassador for those guys. This is not a Simrat base. This was actually a custom base made by me for once in my life. Just thank you to everybody that kind of helps me with my paint schemes and stuff. And thank you to Jack for still putting on the league all these years.
Well, congratulations on the runner-up spot, man. Hopefully, we get to see you have a shot at some more wins later on in the season.
Yeah, appreciate it, buddy.
Now we're going to go ahead and bring in our last interview of the night, that being the number 48 car of Chris Lilly. We talked to your teammate early on. You talked about how big of a win it was for him to have a shot at the win. You come home in third. It's got to be a good result for the team.
Yeah, good run. Good run. Definitely finished a lot better than where we ran most of the day with all those crashes and such. But really wish that those last couple of cautions wouldn't have happened because we had the fresh tires there, and I would have loved even another lap just to try to get there because we were closing in fast. But ran out of time. But if we didn't win it, at least Diego was able to get the win for us.
You know, you struggled a little bit at Daytona. That was a trying race for a lot of people. To come back here in Atlanta, you pretty much were right in the middle of all the chaos, but you were able to scrape home a third place finish. It's got to feel really good in the long run looking at the point standings.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help in the points, for sure, especially with the amount of guys who are normally up at the top that didn't have too hot of a day today because of all the carnage, who also didn't have a good day at Daytona because of all the carnage. So we'll take what we can get when it comes to the championship points and kind of keep going and capitalizing on others' misfortune.
You know, as you look ahead to the rest of the season, you know, you're going to be up there around the top 10 in points. What do you need to do to try and stick with your teammate here to not only have a shot at winning your own championship, but also having a shot at the team championship as well?
Well, at this point, just kind of keep working with each other, doing what we can to get ourselves in positions to capitalize, just being consistent, like today, being there at the end when others aren't. And I think that's going to be the mindset moving forward, especially with this next couple of tracks we're heading to.
And before I let you go here, man, you have anybody you want to thank?
Big shout out to Diego Roldan. Congrats to him for winning. Shout out to Nicholas Budablink. Shout out to Chris Lay Designs, Uprise Motorsports. That's about it.
Right, well, congratulations on the third place finish. Hope we get to speak to you some more as the season rolls on.
Thank you.
And that is going to wrap up our interviews here. I'm trying to wait to see if maybe we have a shot at looking at the points from after tonight, but I don't think we will. But I talked about the upcoming schedule, so let's take a look at that. This is the points heading into them tonight, so that's not accurate, but what is accurate is the schedule that is on the screen as of right now. So looking ahead, next week we go to Richmond. That's been a track that's been known to bring some chaos to the OSRL series. Then we head up north to Montreal to Circuit de Villeneuve, first road course race of the season. Then we head to the Monster Mile in Dover, Homestead Miami Speedway. That's always an exciting race. And then we head down under for our second race out of the United States as we head to Adelaide. So you look ahead at that schedule. It's going to be a hectic one. If you want to keep in touch, be sure to follow OSRL_ on Twitter to keep up to date with everything going on. You can also join the Discord and hopefully sign up so that way you too can go ahead and try and run some of these races and see if you can also have a shot at the win. So to get set to close it out here tonight, that's going to wrap it up from everybody here up in the booth, which is pretty much just me. So on behalf of everybody here at OSRL, thank you guys so much